So what are Tacloban City's plans moving forward to prevent the loss of more lives in natural disasters? Let's speak now with Mayor Alfred Romualdez. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. It's been 9 years since the deadly super typhoon. How have displaced residents rebuilt their lives after the tragedy, not just in terms of livelihoods, but also psychologically?
Well, I think it's very important that since we've learned so many lessons from that tragedy, and it's about time that we institutionalize many of these lessons. And in fact, I had a brief discussion with the president, and I told him that it is critical that if Pag-asa says that there is even a 60% chance that a super typhoon will hit the area, I think we should be given an time, even at least 48 hours, to declare no school, no work, so that people can prepare. I think this is the best remedy, for such a challenge like a super typhoon. That will give the chance now for the people to prepare, and a heads up also to them that there is a super typhoon coming. I think that's one of the very important things that we have to learn. And of course, resilience is creating also now, infrastructure, the build back better, closely supervised, and upgrading the specifications of the buildings that are being built, and identifying danger zones. And the danger zones requires urban planning, and the local government is what we are doing now, is advising the people where are the dwelling and non-dwelling zones. And we have to be very strict about that, because if there is, for example, a tsunami which travels like 500 miles per hour, there's only given, like in Tacloban, only maybe less than an hour to evacuate people. So it's better that from the very beginning that they are in safer areas, not in the danger zone areas.
And Mayor, disaster response can only be effective at the community level. And of course, you have to have this really serious mindset in the local government units. Can you share with us as well, Mayor, what is the latest on the housing project for Yolanda victims, which has not yet been completed after 9 years? According to the National Housing Authority, there are still 35,000 housing units that still have to be completed. How much of that is for Tacloban City?
Well, when you say completed, that's a problem already to begin with, because in the National Housing Authority, when they say completed, it's actually, when we look and see, we cannot even give them an occupancy permit, because it does not qualify to be completed. That's why a physical inspection is being done by myself, and I look at these houses, and to tell you frankly that it's terrible. It's really bad. It's about like 60% to 70% of the houses are substandard, and they're really not fit for people to be living in it. It takes a very long time, and the problem there is if you take it to court, it's going to take 10 to 20 years and nothing's going to happen. So the local governments are also, their hands are tied, because the property still belongs to the National Housing Authority, and there's nothing we can do about it. I can only touch those houses if it's turned over to the local government, and we can fund it, and we'll just finish it, the bayanihan with the people, and finish those houses so they can move in. But that's really I would say the major problem, that occurred here in the rehabilitation of the city of Tacloban.
So what's the solution then, Mayor Alfred, to these housing units? It's already been 9 years, and these the people, the displaced residents, need their homes.
Exactly. That's why even in the previous administration, I already recommended that the houses be turned over to the city government, finished or unfinished, and tatrabahuin na lang namin ni Congressman Martin Romualdez and the mayor, kami, and we'll just work together to get budget to finish the houses. because really it's a problem. It's a very big problem because we, for example, have the pipes ready to connect water to these units, but it's about 75% of the units there. Their pipe system there, it's all substandard, and it's just creates so many leaks. So now we have to rehabilitate and we have to redo most of these houses. And as you know, it's more expensive even to renovate and to redo all these houses. It was very, very poorly done. And the issue here, I think, is because of accountability. You have public officials, number one, who are not from the area, and it's very difficult. I really suggested that the funds be downloaded to the city government and makes me accountable to the people, and I will make sure that those houses are finished on time and they're not substandard.
Right.
So that's one remedy that we should correct. And it's also sad, if you really look at these houses, it's really not fit for a Filipino family. An average family has about 3 or 4 children. There's only one room. It's not even a room. It's just one basic box with one toilet, and it's so small that it's not healthy for even families to live there. I think
Mayor,
they should redesign all these houses.
Mayor, there is currently an ongoing international conference on climate change, while the Philippines is just a small voice. It still has an environmental footprint. What can be done to reduce that footprint?
Well, what can be done there is there's so many information now, scientific data that's coming out, that it's not only fossil fuels, for example, that's destroying the atmosphere. It's also the raising of cattle. It's also things that actually poison the atmosphere. We have to get together and really find out what's all of this, and government should have a program like. For example, pushing for more solar and even electric vehicles now, that should be pushed, and have some programs with that. And basically, ang problema kasi, it's politicized, that issue. I mean, you have a former U.S. president who was not really, of the belief of climate change. And really, it was a big setback. And even though small countries like us, we try to make the adjustment, and it's very difficult. In fact, it makes us actually, the situation now is we're very vulnerable. We're part of what you call the Rim of Fire, Pacific Rim of Fire. And you can see it's very visible now that even the ocean level has risen in our area.
Right, yes.
It never happened before. Now, if it's high tide, many times the water even enters, the seawater enters already our downtown area. So
Mayor?
it's very difficult, Really, there has to be a very serious summit of all countries, especially industrial countries, and they have to, have that program and really have that political will to correct this, because I really pity the next generation.
Yes.
On when they come, that will be very difficult for them.
Mayor, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word and sharing with us the challenges faced by Tacloban City 9 years after Typhoon Yolanda. Tacloban Mayor Alfred Romualdez.